Imagine if there were a disease that could make you forget the most important person you love, erasing them from your existence. Meet Sakuda, a lonely guy who was hanging out in the library by himself, bumped into a girl dressed as a bunny. Strangely, her name wasn't mentioned. Backtracking to when Sakuda first saw her in the library, she caught his eye as she passed by. It seemed like she was trying to get noticed, but only Sakuda could see her. When she decided to leave, Sakuda stopped her to introduce himself. He asked if she was Mai Sakurajima, but she just told me to forget what he saw and walked away. While heading to school, Sakuda and his friend Yuma Kunumi run into Mai. Remembering their encounter in the library, Sakuda asks Yuma if he can see Mai too. Yuma confirms he can, and they discuss how Mai, despite quitting her job, still remains a celebrity, yet she often feels lonely. People avoid approaching her at school to avoid drawing attention to themselves. After school, at the train station, the boy notices a couple attempting to take a photo of Mai. Recognizing her, he steps in, accusing them of harassment. Mai expresses gratitude for his intervention. They board the train together, where Mai reveals she's seen rumors about him on social media, claiming he sent 4 boys to the hospital. He confesses he's unaware of these rumors since he doesn't own a cell phone. Despite their falsity, he admits he won't refute them, feeling the need to adapt to the prevailing atmosphere. Changing the topic, he inquired about the incident in the library from days before. The girl shared the story of how her life as a celebrity began at the tender age of 6. Over time, she found herself yearning for anonymity. During a visit to an aquarium outside Fujisawa, she noticed that she went unnoticed by the crowd. However, upon returning, everything reverted to normal. To further investigate this phenomenon, she dressed as a bunny girl to attract attention. She dismissed it as her imagination, but Sakuda proposed that it might be the puberty syndrome. He invited her to his apartment to help her grasp the truth. At his home, he reveals scratches on his chest that inexplicably appeared one day. He also shares a photo of his sister, Kade, bearing bruises that surfaced after she faced harassment on social media. When she distanced herself from online platforms, her wounds healed, but it left her shy, struggling to communicate, and reluctant to venture outside. Seeing this impact firsthand, Sakuda resolved to distance himself from social media and dispose of his phone. Having undergone these experiences, he urges Mai to return to the world of entertainment to avoid being ignored and forgotten. However, she becomes upset and abruptly leaves. At the restaurant where Sakuda works, a journalist named Fumika Nanju shows interest in the puberty syndrome story. Fumika requests photos of his injuries, but Sakuda asks for information about Mai in return, striking a deal. Later, after finishing his shift, he returns to his apartment only to find Mai waiting outside, seeking his help because more people are unable to see her. That very night, while both are shopping in a supermarket, they come to the realization that no one can still see Mai. Later, Sakuda decides to accompany Mai to her home. He shares that he discovered why she chose to leave television. It stemmed from a disagreement over a swimsuit job that her mother accepted against her will. Feeling used for profit, Mai retaliated by distancing herself from her mother. Upon hearing Sakuda's revelation, Mai becomes upset, leading to a heated argument, and eventually, she slaps him. Sakuda explains that he obtained the information from the journalist who visited him at work, and in exchange for that intel, he allowed her to take photos of his injuries. Realizing the potential consequences of this exposure, Mai expresses concern that everyone will become aware of them, making them vulnerable to journalists' inquiries. In a swift move, Mai contacts the journalist, Fumika, to strike a deal and prevent the publication of Sakuda's photos. Before reaching Mai's house, she confirms her desire to return to television and requests Sakuda's company the next day. The following morning, Sakuda is filled with excitement about the upcoming meeting and prepares himself as if he were going on a date. As he leaves his apartment, he encounters a lost, crying girl in the park and decides to offer his assistance. However, amidst his goodwill, he hears a scream and suddenly receives a blow from a girl who accuses him of being a predator. Upon realizing her mistake, she quickly apologizes and asks him to return the kick, acknowledging her error in judgment. Unaware of a police officer observing them, they are asked to accompany him to the police station. Realizing the time he has lost and that he had a date with Mai, Sakuta decides to leave. Upon arriving at the train station, he doesn't find her, but to his surprise, Mai waited for him despite being an hour late. On the train, Mai asks Sakuta why he helps her, considering she's a complicated person. He jests, saying it's the only chance he gets to be with a cute girl, but the truth is deeper. Sakuta explains that he knows the feeling of being alone and unable to rely on anyone when facing problems, and that he experienced it when his sister became embroiled in rumors on social media, leading to puberty syndrome at that time. He mentioned only one person came to his aid, a girl he met at the beach named Shoko Makinohara, whom he never saw again but always yearned to find. Upon arriving at the beach, they spot a car from which a lady emerges, Mai's mother. Mai approaches her and shares her decision to return to the entertainment world. However, they soon realize that Mai's mother can't see her either. Mai's mother grows agitated at what she perceives as a waste of time. She turns to Sakuta and questions if he sent her a message inviting her, to which he calmly responds that he is her daughter's classmate, and it was Mai who sent the message. Mai's mother, visibly upset, declares that she has no daughter, presenting a message without a sender's name before abruptly leaving. Sakuta and Mai come to the sobering realization that not only are her fans forgetting her, but even her own mother is beginning to forget her existence. Feeling disheartened by this revelation, they resolve to seek assistance from the journalist. However, when they confront the journalist, Fumika denies any knowledge of the young girl and reneges on the deal she made with Sakuta the previous night. Hearing this, Mai feels dejected and decides to leave. Sakuta intervenes, persuading her that they can explore other cities to ascertain if anyone remembers her. Reluctantly, Mai agrees to give it a try. In another city, with no answers forthcoming, they retreat to their hotel. While Mai takes a shower, Sakuta decides to call his classmates who still remember her. During the call with his friend Ryo Futaba, she suggests that the root of the problem might lie at school. Thus, they decide to return there at the end of the day to investigate further. As they share the same bed, Mai breaks the silence by asking Sakuta to kiss her. In a gentle manner, he hesitates, indicating his reluctance. Sensing his hesitation, Mai turns away and poses a more vulnerable question, asking what he would do if she confessed that she's scared and doesn't want to disappear. Without hesitation, Sakuta reassures her, saying that he would simply embrace her and assure her that everything will be okay. The next day, as the young couples return to school, they encounter the same unsettling phenomenon. Students cannot see or remember Mai. While Mai heads to her classroom, Sakuta meets his friend Ryo, whom he spoke to the night before. Ryo speculates that this phenomenon may be due to the pervasive atmosphere of ignorance starting to take hold. She reveals that Mai has always been like a ghost in the school, and as people fall asleep, they begin to lose memories of Mai, eventually forgetting her existence altogether. That same night, Sakuta makes the decision not to sleep in order to prevent himself from forgetting Mai. He uses the upcoming final exams as an excuse for his sleeplessness. It's during this moment of determination that he resolves to write a diary chronicling his memories of how he met Mai, as a safeguard against forgetting her. The next morning, during class, Sakuta approaches Ryo to discuss Mai, only to discover that she no longer remembers her. This confirmation of his theory solidifies his resolve, and he commits to putting forth his best effort to stay awake and ensure he doesn't forget Mai. Sakuta manages to hold out for about 2 days until Mai catches on to what he's doing. She devises a plan, offering to help him study for the final exam at his apartment. Unbeknownst to Sakuta, she slips sleeping pills into his drink, ensuring he finally gets some rest. Before he drifts off to sleep, Mai bids him farewell, expressing gratitude for everything and reassuring him not to worry, as she will be fine. Upon awakening, Sakuta finds it's May 29th, and he discovers a diary on his desk. As he begins to read, he realizes it's written in his own handwriting, yet he has no recollection of writing it. Confused, he notices that the girl's name is clearly absent from every page, prompting him to dismiss the diary and leave it aside. At school, Sakuta's friend hands him a note she discovered tucked inside a book. The note suggests that students unconsciously ignore someone, eventually leading to their disappearance. However, it also suggests that something powerful, like love, has the potential to make them remember and break through the unconsciousness of others. During the exam, Sakuta is suddenly flooded with memories of the night before, studying with someone, and recollections of the past few days until he remembers Mai. Overwhelmed by emotion, he abruptly stands up and rushes out of the classroom to the schoolyard. There, he shouts to everyone that he loves Mai Sakurajima, determined to make everyone remember her. To his surprise, Mai appears behind him, calmly telling him that such shouting isn't necessary. However, thanks to Sakuta's declaration, the students begin discussing the two of them, inadvertently resolving the problem of the puberty syndrome that Mai was facing. As Sakuta prepares to head to school, he notices his sister Kade watching the news. It's June 27th, and Japan has become champion. Almost a month has passed since the incident. In class, Sakuta engages in conversation with his classmates, and after class, he meets Mai for lunch. Seizing the moment, he asks her to be his girlfriend. Initially hesitant, Mai refuses, but Sakuta employs a clever tactic, claiming to have lost interest after trying for a month. Reluctantly, Mai agrees, and pleased with her response, Sakuta heads back to class. However, on the stairs, he encounters a boy confessing his feelings to a student named Tomoe Koga, the same girl he met in the park. Though she appears nervous, he disregards her and walks away. The following morning, filled with anticipation about his newfound relationship, Sakuta encounters his sister watching the news once more. To his confusion, it's June 27th again, and Japan has become champion, just like the day before. Heading to class, he realizes he's having the same conversations with his classmates and attending the same classes as the previous day. Additionally, he notices that Mai still hasn't accepted his proposal to be his girlfriend. During lunch, Sakuta summons the courage to ask Mai again, and once more, she reluctantly agrees. However, after they finish lunch, Sakuta encounters the same couple from the stairs, oblivious to his presence as they walk away. The next day dawns, and to Sakuta's dismay, it's June 27th once again. Realizing that the days are not progressing, he turns to his friend Rio for advice. Rio suggests that the phenomenon might be attributed to Laplace's demon, a theoretical concept that can predict the future and causes the repetition of days. In order to break the cycle, Sakuta realizes he must identify the person responsible for the time loop. He believes that it must be someone who acts differently on the repeated days. After some time, he discovers that Koga is the one causing the repetition. Determined to help her, Sakuta intervenes to ensure the days can move forward again. However, during one of the repeated days, as Koga attempts to evade the boy confessing his feelings to her, she accidentally collides with Sakuta. Witnessing this, the other boy feels awkward and refrains from making his love confession, halting the cycle and allowing time to progress once more. Mai witnesses the awkward situation between Sakuta and Koga, and he tries to explain, but Mai leaves without wanting to listen. Sakuta assumes the day will repeat, allowing him to fix things. However, he wakes up surprised to find that the day has progressed because the boy from the stairs couldn't make his confession. Later that night, while Sakuta is working, Koga appears, and it seems they will start working together. After their shift, she confides in Sakuta, expressing her fear of losing friends if the boy confesses to her, as her friend is in love with him. Returning home after a long day, Sakuta is surprised to find Mai waiting for him. She seeks him out to ask why he didn't offer an explanation for what she witnessed earlier. Sakuta and Mai find themselves in his room, where he finally explains that the situation was all a misunderstanding. Despite deciding to help Koga due to her resemblance to his sister and her fear of feeling alone and embarrassed, Sakuta's actions cause Mai to question his intentions. In an attempt to reassure her, Sakuta approaches her with other intentions, only to receive a simple hit from Mai. At that moment, Sakuta mentions that he will have to leave for a week due to work reasons. Before departing, he brings a gift for Kaede, encouraging her to gradually overcome her shyness and eventually venture into the outside world. Kaede is deeply touched and expresses her gratitude, signifying a small but significant step forward for her. The next day, before heading to work, Sakuta engages in a conversation with his classmate and discovers that the boy planning to confess to Koga is named Yosuke Maizawa and already has a girlfriend. In the afternoon of the following day, Sakura goes on a date with his fake girlfriend Koga at the aquarium. Koga is determined to prove to her friends that they are in a relationship and asks Sakura to take some photos as evidence to show her friends. During their date, Koga opens up to Sakura, revealing that she hails from a small town and struggled to adapt to the city. She shares how she had to change not only her appearance, but also her personality to fit in. As they prepare to leave, they encounter one of Koga's classmates who is visibly distressed because she has lost her necklace. Together, they help her find it, and the classmate realizes that Sakura is not as the rumors suggest. Later, at work, Koga questions Sakura about whether he has asked Mai to be his girlfriend yet. Sakura admits that he hasn't because of a misunderstanding and being caught in a time loop. He never had the chance to confess. He reflects that if none of these events had happened, they might already be a couple. During class, Sakura reunites with his friend Rio, who reveals that the days have been repeating because the girl couldn't find a future she liked, causing her to relive the same day until she found one she was satisfied with. Rio suggests that after finding a suitable future, the girl has allowed the days to progress normally. That night, after work, Sakura confides in his friend Kunimi, mentioning that his girlfriend has once again requested him to stay away from her. However, Kunimi brings to Sakura's attention rumors circulating about Koga that also involve him. At the train station, Sakura notices Koga looking depressed. Before he can approach her, Yosuke Maezawa appears, prompting Sakura to confront him. Believing him to be one of the perpetrators spreading false rumors and harassing Koga, Sakura teaches him a lesson by confronting him publicly. In front of everyone, Sakura refutes the rumors, asserting their falsehood. He then takes Koga's hand, and they flee from the scene, preventing the day from repeating. The following day, as Sakura makes his way to class, he overhears the students discussing him and what happened at the station the previous day. Upon arriving at school, he sees Koga surrounded by her friends, and he feels a sense of contentment. Back at home, Mai and Sakura discuss their future together. Mai encourages Sakura to focus on his studies so they can attend university together. To motivate him, she surprises him by wearing the bunny costume and confesses that she does it to grab his attention, admitting she felt a bit jealous after the disagreement with Koga. As the semester draws to a close, Sakura and Koga decide to have one last date, this time at the beach. They make plans to meet up for their final outing together. As the new day begins, Kade wakes up her brother, reminding him that it's the last day of classes, and afterward, Sakura meets Koga during their scheduled date. They spend nearly the entire day together, enjoying each other's company. As the sun begins to set, they decide it's time to part ways. Koga expresses her gratitude to Sakura for everything he has done for her throughout their time together. She assures him not to worry about their separation, telling him that she will inform everyone that the reason for their parting is that he couldn't stop thinking about Mai, even when he was with her. As Sakura wakes up to his sister's familiar phrase, he's taken aback to find himself trapped in the time loop once again. Upon arriving at school, he seeks out Koga, only to discover that she claims not to remember their beach date, as it hasn't happened yet from her perspective. Confused, Sakura turns to his friend Rio for advice once more. Rio observes that there's a difference between the 2 days, and it revolves around Sakura's relationship with Koga. She suggests that Koga's unwillingness to let go might be causing the repetition of the day, either unaware of the consequences or possibly lying about it. The days continue to repeat until the 4th day, when Sakura confronts Koga. He tells her that no matter how many times she tries to repeat the day, his heart belongs only to Mai Sakurajima. Koga tearfully admits that she knows she can't forget Sakura, and her feelings for him only grow stronger with each passing day. By expressing her heartfelt confession, Sakura feels a sense of relief and gratitude, understanding that her honesty will break the cycle of repeating days. The next morning, as Sakura hears the news announcement of June 27th, he is surprised because instead of letting the day pass, he has gone back in time to when his story with Koga began. Determined, Sakura heads to class, where this time he finally confesses his feelings to Mai, and to his delight, she accepts once again. After sharing lunch with Mai, Sakuta encounters Koga on the stairs, rejecting Maizawa's advances and declaring that her heart belongs to a guy without a cell phone, clearly indicating her feelings for Sakuta. In the days that follow, Sakuta observes events unfolding similarly to his previous experiences with Koga. When he discusses his unique situation with his classmate Rio, she provides an explanation involving quantum entanglement. Rio reveals that their connection began when they met at the park and kicked each other's butts, resulting in an entanglement where they share information and are thus affected by the time phenomenon together. As Sakuta and Mai leave the high school in the rain, they encounter a girl with an abandoned cat. Sakuta approaches her, offering to take the cat home. He invites her to visit the cat, providing his address, and she accepts, introducing herself as Shoko Makinohara. Looking up, Sakuta realizes that she is the girl he met 2 years ago and his first love. Upon waking up, Sakuta finds Shoko at his home, having come to visit the abandoned cat. However, he realizes that he doesn't remember her or the moment they shared on the beach. Seeking guidance, Sakuta turns to his friend Rio once again to tell her about his distant love and seek her advice. Upon seeing Rio, Sakuta notices that her appearance has changed, but she deflects the topic by asking why he called her. Sakuta then shares about the girl who suddenly reappeared, but whom he doesn't remember. Rio suggests that perhaps it's another person who looks like her, despite sharing the same name, and leaves without elaborating further. Later that night, Mai surprises Sakuta at work since they couldn't see each other during the week due to her busy schedule. After leaving work together, they spot Rio entering an internet cafe. Curious, they follow her and discover that the person Sakuta encountered earlier that afternoon was actually Rio's double, and she's been taking her place, seeking refuge in that place. Due to the situation, Sakuta offers accommodation to Rio's double in his home until she can solve her problem. While his friend takes a bath, Sakuta confides in Mai about the possibility of there being 2 versions of Rio, but he is unsure of the reason for this phenomenon. The next morning, Sakuta encounters Rio's double at school, observing his friend Kunimi from a distance while confessing to Sakuta about her feelings for him. Sakuta calls his residence, and Mai confirms that Rio was indeed in 2 different places at the same time, indicating the existence of 2 versions of her. Mai also mentions that she has spoken with her manager and wants to meet her boyfriend, so they need to talk. After hanging up the call, Kunimi's girlfriend appears and shows Sakuta a social media account with some photos, realizing that those photos belong to Rio. After witnessing what Sakuta saw, he returns home to talk to Rio. She explains that she created that account but didn't know what to post. Seeking attention, she started posting those photos, and from there, 2 personalities of herself emerged. One seeking attention from people, and another that doesn't accept the use of her body. Mai tells Sakuta that her agency prohibits her from having a partner, so they decide to separate for a while, as her job is important. On the train, Rio's double tells Sakuta to decide which one to stay with, because 2 versions of her cannot coexist. Later, Rio receives a message from a stalker, threatening to inform her school about the photos of her in a school uniform if they don't meet. Terrified by the situation, she asks Sakuta to delete her account. Seeing how scared she is, he decides to accompany her home and spend the night with her. As they lie down, she confesses her fear of losing her friends and being alone, especially since both she and Sakuta have partners. Upon hearing Rio's distress, Sakuta calls his friend to inform him about the situation. Without hesitation, his friend quickly goes to meet Rio to show her that no matter what happens, her friends will always be there for her. Later, they decide to spend time together by the seashore, sharing a lovely moment as friends and playing with fireworks. Remembering the Enoshima event, Kunumi suggests watching it together. Unaware of the passing time, dawn breaks and the 3 head home. Before leaving, Rio asks Sakuta to take care of her double as she doesn't seem well in handling her phone. Upon returning to his apartment, Sakuta's friend, Rio, receives him and he hands over the phone given to him by the double. Upon seeing a photo of the 3 together from that night, Rio decides to leave and hide in the school. Sakuta wakes up in the middle of the night and realizes his friend isn't there, so he goes out to find her in the rain. He locates her, and she confides in him, expressing her fear of disappearing because her double is seemingly outshining her. However, Sakuta disagrees and reminds her of their plan to watch the Enoshima fireworks with Kunimi, hoping she will attend. During his search in the rain, Sakuta faints and wakes up in a hospital where Ryo is waiting. She tells him she accepts the invitation but needs to inform her double. When she does, they automatically merge into one, putting an end to their puberty syndrome. At the festival, Ryo confesses her feelings to Kunimi but asks him not to respond and to return to his girlfriend. On September 1st, the beginning of the second semester of high school, Sakuta looks for Mai among the students but doesn't find her. On his way home, he crosses paths with her, relieved to find her. However, when he approaches to greet her, she doesn't recognize him and insists that he can't be her sister's boyfriend. Confused by her words, Sakuta is approached by a blonde-haired girl claiming to be Mai Sakurajima. She reveals that they have swapped bodies with her sister, Nodoka Toyohama, who is an up-and-coming idol. As they talk, they decide to pretend to be each other until they can find a solution to their situation. The next day, while on their way to class, Mai, now in her sister's body, asks Sakuta to help find her missing sister, who ran away from home. When they were kids, their father remarried, and Mai's mother enrolled her in a theatrical agency. Similarly, Nautika's mother did the same for her daughter, causing tension between them. Sakuta consults Ryo again about his girlfriend's situation. Ryo explains that this time, the puberty syndrome stems from their unstable mental state, and the solution is for Mai to fulfill her sister's dream of becoming a recognized idol. While at the beach, Sakuta attempts to persuade Nautica to express her feelings to her sister. Later, when they meet, Nodoka confesses that she harbors resentment towards her sister because their mother has constantly compared her to Mai since childhood, making her feel inadequate. Mai responds by admitting that she feels the same way, but emphasizes that it's not their fault, rather it's their father's fault. During a visit to Sakuta at work, Mai mentions that she's been rehearsing extensively for her sister's performance. However, she also reveals that she's constantly receiving messages from her mother, pressuring her for a presentation. Meanwhile, Nodoka struggles to complete the recording of Mai's commercial due to feeling pressured to live up to her perfect sister's image. She experiences hyperventilation during the shoot, and this news reaches Mai. Before leaving, Mai asks Sakuta to take care of her sister. As a precaution, she leaves the keys to her house with the condition not to open the cabinet in her living room. While there, as Nodoka takes a bath, Sakuta gives in to curiosity and opens the cabinet that his girlfriend prohibited, only to find a metal box inside. After the incident, Nodoka takes a bath and a childhood memory flashes in her mind, where she joyfully watches her sister on television. Meanwhile, Sakuta gives in to temptation and opens the cabinet that Mai forbade him from opening. The next day, Sakuta returns to his apartment and finds his sister dressed in a school uniform, expressing her desire to return to school, which brings joy to Sakuta. Mai arrives and is also pleased to hear Keide's words. Later, Mai gives Sakuta tickets to the concert where she will perform instead of her sister. On the day of Nodoka's recording, after much preparation with Sakuta's assistance, she finally manages to complete the shoot. Despite appearing happy and somewhat relieved, she confides in Sakuta that she's angry for taking so long. She comes to realize the immense pressure of living in her sister's shoes and coping with constant expectations. Upon their arrival at Mai's house, Nodoka's mother awaits her, demanding her daughter's return. However, in Mai's body, Nodoka responds that she hasn't seen her. That same night, Sakuta encounters his father, whom he hasn't seen for a long time since Keide and his mother fell ill. Finally, on the day of Nodoka's performance, Mai arrives alongside Sakuta. They spot their mother in the front row. During the concert, she is amazed by her sister's performance, and the agency selects her as the next central figure in the upcoming song. This brings tears to her mother's eyes as she expresses pride for the first time. However, the real Nodoka feels sadness, realizing it wasn't her who achieved this success, but her sister. Overwhelmed by these emotions, she decides to leave and attempts to take her own life, feeling like nobody needs her. Sakuta, who is with her at that moment, intervenes, telling her that her sister loves her and it would deeply hurt her if she goes through with it. Despite his efforts, she remains unconvinced, so she asks to return to Mai's house to confirm it. Upon arriving at Mai's house, Sakuta reveals to the real Nodoka a metal box containing letters she had sent to her sister during their childhood, which Mai had kept all this time. Standing behind them is the genuine Mai, expressing gratitude to her sister for supporting her since childhood. Feeling ashamed, Nodoka kneels before her and confesses that despite her admiration for Mai, she had always harbored resentment because their mother frequently scolded her for not meeting her expectations. Mai urges her to prioritize her own happiness over their mother's desires, encouraging her to choose her own path. In a sudden moment, they switch back to their original bodies, thus resolving their puberty syndrome. One morning, Katie watches a press conference featuring Mai discussing her relationship with Sakuta. Mai mentions that they met in high school and their love blossomed when he openly declared his feelings for her in front of everyone. Additionally, she requests privacy for their relationship, emphasizing that Sakuta is not a public figure. Inspired by Mai's words, Katie decides to create a list of goals to achieve before the end of the year. On October 15th, upon entering the apartment, Sakuta discovers a letter from Shoko in his mailbox. Shoko, who hasn't been seen for several days, requests a meeting at the beach the following day. Before taking any action, Sakuta decides to confide in Rio, who suggests informing his girlfriend. However, Sakuta insists on not telling Mai, believing it wouldn't be fair for her to learn he's meeting his first love. Despite his decision, Rio sends a message to Mai. Upon learning about the meeting, Mai doesn't confront Sakuta, but expresses her own curiosity about the mysterious girl. As Sakuta and Mai head to the beach to meet Shoko after classes, they encounter a young girl named Kotomi Kano, who turns out to be a childhood friend of Keide. Kotomi updates Sakuta on Keide's well-being and expresses regret for not standing up for her during the bullying ordeal. Kotomi reveals that after Keide's sister's harassment, the bullies began receiving threats, prompting them to cease their torment and stop attending classes. Moved by Kotomi's words, Sakuta absorbs the information before continuing to the beach, where he and Mai had planned to meet Shoko. Disappointed by Shoko's absence, Sakuta and Mai decide to leave. Before departing, Sakuta leaves a poignant message in the sand. "I have a girlfriend, Sakuta," reaffirming his commitment to Mai and their relationship. That evening, Kaide shares with her brother a new set of goals, all centered around him. Later, they receive a call from Shoko, who confirms that she didn't send any letters and apologizes for her recent absence due to feeling unwell. During dinner, Katie reveals her list of goals to Mai, which includes answering a call that isn't from her brother. Mai offers her support, and when a phone rings, Katie hesitantly answers it. Despite her initial fear, she successfully answers the call, feeling a sense of accomplishment before suddenly fainting. As Katie rests, Sakuta visits her and notices a new bruise on her neck, sparking concern for her well-being. The next day, after returning from work, Katie presents her brother with a new list of goals, this time focused on venturing outside. Determined to face the world, she expresses readiness to tackle each step, and together they embark on their journey. Day by day, they gradually explore more distant places, making progress towards Keide's goals. One afternoon, they visit a beach accompanied by Mai and Nodoka. As they arrive, a young girl approaches Keide, claiming to be an old friend. To everyone's surprise, Keide denies knowing her, prompting Sakuta to reveal the truth. His sister lost her memories following the traumatic events she endured. This revelation casts a somber mood over the group as they come to terms with Keide's situation. After the incident at the beach, Sakuta confides in Mai and Nodoka about the cause of his sister's memory loss. He reveals that it began when Keide became the target of harassment on social media. The stress and psychological toll of the harassment ultimately triggered a disorder that resulted in her memory loss. As a result, Keide no longer remembers her past life or her own family, making it challenging for Sakuta to connect with her. The person he once knew seemed to have vanished, leaving Sakuta grappling with a sense of loss and confusion. Their mother became ill as she struggled to cope with the situation, and their father made the difficult decision to leave in order to care for her. The revelation sheds light on the profound effect that Katie's memory loss has had on their entire family. One night, Sakuda woke up to find a wound on his chest, but with no one to believe him, he decided to run away from the hospital. That's when he encountered Shoko, the only person who believed him. After confessing the truth about Katie, Sakuda apologized for not doing so earlier, as they were becoming friends. The next day, Mai asked Sakuda to keep her informed if anything happened, as she wouldn't be in town. When Sakuda returned home, he found his sister in a school uniform again, asking to go back to school. In that moment, he decided to tell her about the girl who appeared on the beach and gave her a book the girl had given him. Upon looking inside, they found a note expressing a desire to be friends again, with the girl's name mentioned. Upon reading the note, Katie faints. At the hospital, Sakuda talks to his girlfriend, informing her that Katie is improving, but there's a possibility she may recover her memories and lose the past 2 years. Katie overhears their conversation. After leaving the hospital, while waiting for a taxi, Katie once again asks her brother to let her return to school. On November 19th, Sakuda reunites with his father to discuss his sister's request, and to his relief, his father expresses his support for the decision. Despite the visit from the social worker, Katie struggles to muster the courage to attend school in the following days. Witnessing his sister's frustration and the daily reappearance of bruises on her body, Sakuda decides to take her to the zoo to see the pandas, an item on her list of goals. The peaceful atmosphere and the joy of seeing the pandas help to alleviate her stress and bring a sense of calm. As they make their way home at sunset, Sakuda takes a shortcut, surprising Katie with his intention to make her journey to school easier the next morning. Delighted by her brother's thoughtfulness, Katie agrees eagerly. Upon returning home, Katie expresses her happiness, realizing that she has accomplished everything on her list. The next morning, as Sakuda goes to wake up his sister for school, he is met with confusion from Katie. In that moment, he realizes that she is not the same sister he has known for the past few years. It becomes evident that she has regained her memory, having confronted and overcome all her fears. Together with their father, they make the decision to take Katie to the hospital for observation. The medical professionals confirm that she will need to undergo monitoring and evaluation to ensure her well-being. Sakuda is overcome with grief and confusion as he watches the sister he has cared for over the past 2 years seemingly disappear before his eyes. Unable to bear the weight of the moment, he flees the hospital and collapses, feeling shattered on the ground. As he struggles to make sense of his emotions, he notices the wounds on his chest returning, serving as a painful reminder of the turmoil within him. In this moment of vulnerability, Shoko appears before him, offering a glimmer of comfort in the midst of his anguish. Back at home, as Sakuda takes a bath to collect his thoughts, Shoko decides to read to him the diary that he had given to Katie when she lost her memory. Through the pages of the diary, Sakuda discovers that Katie had been meticulously documenting her experiences since that time. Within the diary's pages, Katie reveals her foreknowledge of her eventual disappearance, acknowledging that the time she spent with her brother brought her happiness despite the looming uncertainty. Sakuda is deeply moved by Katie's words, finding comfort in the knowledge that their bond had brought her joy and gratitude amidst the challenges she faced. Upon awakening, Sakuda finds it to be another day, and he discovers that Shoko has left him a letter, indicating her disappearance once again. He opts to call Mai to update her about his sister's situation and to suggest they reintroduce themselves that evening. At the hospital, Sakuda pays a visit to his sister and proposes they go see pandas, a pastime the previous Katie enjoyed. In response, she advises him to find a girlfriend, to which he replies that he already has one and plans to introduce her soon. Later, Sakuda chooses to accompany his friend Rio to inform her that Katie has regained her memories and that he has encountered Shoko again. Rio suggests that Shoko might be a figment of his imagination, concocted to deal with his issues concerning his sister, and may not actually exist. In the evening, Mai, concerned about Sakuda, decides to return to the city to be with him, but discovers Shoko's letter. Consequently, she opts to depart and return to her work. Upon leaving his workplace, Sakuda encounters Nodoka, who waits for him angrily, informing him that his sister traveled from afar to see him, as she was worried about him, oblivious to the fact that it was her sister's birthday. Sakuda sets out to find her. Finding her, with Nodoka's assistance, they head to a hotel. Their agent grants them some time to converse, during which Sakuda extends birthday wishes to Mai and apologizes for what she had read. Mai expresses self-disappointment for not being there for her boyfriend when he needed her, but he reassures her, emphasizing the importance of her mere existence. In the following days, Kade familiarizes herself with her life through her diary, starting from the moment she lost her memory. Additionally, she resolves to return to school, having conquered her fears. If you watched this far, make sure to subscribe.